Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. If you're like me, before booking a hotel, Airbnb, or of course your next big tech purchase, you might quickly find yourself obsessed with online reviews. And I've got to admit, it can be daunting weeding out those serial whingers from those long lists of reviews. And why is it you can read 100 great reviews, but you really take that bad 2-star review to heart? And that's the one that you pay the most attention to. But we're not alone in this. A recent report by a company called Uberall discovered that 91% of SMBs think customer reviews are critical to their business. And an incredible 60% say they respond all the time or frequently. Now, Uberall is a location marketing solution for businesses competing to attract and win local brick and mortar customers. And they recently released new data on how small to medium-sized businesses feel about online customer reviews across a myriad of platforms such as Yelp, TripAdvisor, Facebook, Instagram, Google, and the list goes on. And it must be incredibly difficult trying to keep track of all these different platforms and all the conversations that are taking place about their brand on these platforms. Now, I don't want to reveal any spoilers now, but today we're going to tackle the world of online reviews and how businesses can get control of their digital presence and online reputation, ultimately enabling them to easily manage brand interactions in real time on all digital platforms. And by that, of course, I mean mobile, voice, desktop, websites, mobile apps, store locators, search engines, maps, social platforms and advertising networks. Just reading those out tells you what a huge, mammoth task that can be. So come and join me on a quick trip to Berlin so we can speak with the founder and CEO of Uberall, Florian Huebner. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little more about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So first of all, thanks for having me. My name is Florian Huebner. I'm the founder and co-CEO of Uberall, and we are a Berlin-based software as a service company with now a bit more than 1 million customers around the world. And what we do is we build a near-me brand experience platform. And what that fancy term means is that we help big brands and through resellers also small and medium businesses to create an integrated, really seamless experience for customers that are trying to connect with them online and turn those online interactions into offline sales and bring it all the way back to online to create loyalty and, I would say, meaningful interactions between businesses and customers.
1 million customers around the world. That's amazing. But before we settle in and talk about Uberall, I just want you to possibly set the scene and tell me a little bit more about the review landscape and how bad customer reviews can actually kill a retailer. Because I know if I look at, let's say, a hotel or an Airbnb, I can read 100 great reviews, but it's only the 1 or 2 that I seem to remember. So, but can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what research has shown lately is that 88% of the people really trust online reviews as much or more as personal recommendations. And I'm pretty sure that you know exactly that experience. You know, you want to go to a coffee shop, to have a conversation, or you're traveling and you lost your iPhone charger, or you meet somebody in a city that you're not always at, and you're looking for a great restaurant for a spontaneous date. And all these situations, we all know them. And that's when we take the smartphone out of our pockets and we look at, this trusted advisor day and night, and we expect to really conveniently find stuff around us. Yeah. And then, you see 2 coffee shops to stay with that example, and you don't hesitate long, but you go to the one that has the better reviews. And what's really interesting is that over time, consumers really got less interested in overall branding. It does not necessarily have to be a big chain or something, but really they are more interested in, as I said earlier, getting a very customized, a very personalized experience through these interactions, and so any review matters, and in the end they are really driving purchasing decisions right now. So it is something that businesses cannot shy away from, for sure.
And one of the things that put you on my radar was I read a recent report or a poll that you guys did. I believe you polled 300 small to medium-sized businesses and their owners and asked them about online customer reviews on sites such as Yelp, TripAdvisor, Facebook, Instagram, Google, and so many more, all platforms that we all use on a regular basis. But can you share some of the key findings from that report?
Absolutely. I mean, so one thing is, we spoke to SMBs for that, and what we found is that a lot of them already understand the importance of these reviews. So if you ask them how important online reviews are for them, more than half, to be exact, 55% say that it's very important, and another 28% say that it's at least important to them. Yeah, and I think that comes from the background that they are super used to standing out of the crowd through giving a really good, as I said, personalized experience. But then, if you look at how they're interacting with those, you got to keep in mind that 37%, that was another number that came up, really don't even respond to customer feedback. Yeah, and generally saying that is something that we really recommend to everyone, is that they really take this seriously, and no matter if it's good feedback or bad feedback, try to start a conversation with their customers through that.
And as this is a tech show, I feel I must highlight at this moment that Uberall is a global leader in location management technology. But can you share how you're helping businesses overcome the challenges that we just spoken about there a few moments ago?
So what we do is we basically established ourselves as a catalyst within this whole ecosystem of platforms that people are trying to connect on with local businesses. Yeah. So right now, this is a very fragmented landscape. There's the Googles and Facebooks and TripAdvisors and Yelps and Foursquares of this world. There's also newer platforms like Uber or Waze or Alexa, and the number of use cases are getting more and more complex. So it's actually not just reviews, but it might be reviews about products, it might be reviews about services, it might also be shares and likes and uploaded pictures of the food that you get in a restaurant, and staying on top of all of that is really complex. And we connect to more than 125 of these platforms worldwide, and whenever a customer leaves any sort of feedback and interaction for and with a business, we aggregate that into our platform, and then we allow our partners and customers to do a number of things with that. And the first one really is the direct dialogue. So if you leave a say critical feedback for one of our customers, they will get a notification, and then they can respond to you and try to figure out with you how to make that better. But also, through the interactions with such customer feedbacks, you leave let's say a sign for anyone else trying to discover new businesses or looking for a particular business, how you are really engaging with clients and how you are trying to do right by them. So that is something that works on what do people see when they find your listing, say on Google, and take a look at the reviews. But it actually also has influence on how the big search engines ranking search results. So, two businesses that have roughly the same number of reviews and overall the same rating will be stacked on top of each other based on how the business owners actually interact with their clients. Yeah? And the third one is that we allow especially the bigger brands and chains to do very smart analysis based on that data, and that can be finding out overall feedback about a brand, or selecting regions to figure out how they're competing or comparing towards each other when it comes to how service is perceived, actually making sure that there's no single stores that are particularly bad. And if so, find them early and try to work, for example, on the customer service there. Yeah. And in the end, last but not least, it's also about brand building. Yeah. So to have a central point where you can control not only what your strategy is to be interacting with clients online here, but also in what way you want to do it, to have a consistent tone of voice for how you are reacting to feedback, and a consistent methodology strategy for what you are offering, what you're giving away online, in order to give customers proper feedback and potentially make up for what you messed up in the store earlier.
Now, of course, we're talking in Europe today about this subject, and it is a topic that's relevant all over the world. And I know if we look across the Atlantic, over in the US, Yext is a big player in this space. So a question I've got to ask is, how is Uberall different from other solutions and other solutions such as Yext, for example?
I think in a nutshell, the comparison between Yext and Uberall is fairly easy. So they rather do data management and we do customer relationships. Yeah, so I think they call it digital knowledge management, and that's about organizing and distributing information, and that's capabilities that for sure we have as well. However, when we talk about a brand experience, then it's more about this seamless experience that we give to the customers of our partners and clients. From the first interaction, again, to the offline transaction and back to engaging with them when it comes to online feedback and so on. Yeah, and I think that it's really about this new customer journey and actually a self-enforcing cycle there that we mapped from beginning to end in our solution. And it's also a bit of a question of a different philosophy, when they say that they put correct answers everywhere. That's, again, a very data-centric approach. And, I believe it's more about a dialogue. Answers can change. And in the end, you want to have a really meaningful, personalized experience, which for sure is not, just placing answers.
So can you also tell me a little bit more about your location marketing cloud, and also how that provides a consistent, accurate digital brand footprint? Because that seems really intriguing to me too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there are various components in there. And I think how you can basically organize them when talking about how we do stuff is that there's a part that really supports search and discovery, that there's a part that really supports the engagement, and that there's another part where it's really about the conversion into local business. Yeah, and when talking about search and discovery, it's that there first is a part that we call presence management, and that really is about giving your local stores the best possible visibility on all online platforms where they should be. That's, again, the Facebooks and Googles and Yelps and TripAdvisors and so on. And it really starts with having correct names and contact information, opening hours, pictures. But, there's so much more. There's also information about products and events, and people want to know if there's Wi-Fi or handicap parking and so on and so on. Yeah, and in a way that's local search engine optimization. That continues to our store locator and on Pages solution, where for very big brands, we now provide tools for them to have that same great detail of data also integrated in their own website. And it continues to our performance advertising product, where we allow to create really hyper-local campaigns for local businesses. And actually, business not only something that you can walk into, but it might also be your ATM or an EV charging station. Yeah, so that's a really, really wide field. And there it is about having people navigate to a particular business, or having people to call your business, to book a service, or reserve a product, reserve a table. And when you then look at the engagement bucket, we have the reputation management solution that we already talked a little bit about. Again, where it's about aggregating everything that's happening online and allowing you to have a conversation with an individual, to signal to the masses, to analyze and to build your brand through that. And another part that's in there is social media management, where we allow you to post updates about your businesses, about your offers and products to all connected platforms, which is a really powerful way to really use a lot of organic display advertising space that you essentially have on all those profiles, more interactively than just dropping your information there. Yeah, and by now we're also experimenting and starting to get into the field of smarter conversations. That there's a lot of messaging service, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp for Business. Google for sure is also working on messaging solutions, and we are part of that. And that's going to become more relevant in the future. And the last part that I talked about was conversion. And for businesses, it's really meaningful to understand what all the stuff that they do online is really bringing them in store. And especially when you look at the more performance-oriented parts, there's lots of data points that we can give back. By now, overall, we have very extensive analytics. We can really tell you how your businesses are showing up in the whole near me search. Traffic, really, what of that is branded, what is unbranded, what are the terms that people have when they are looking at you, how is your reputation developing over time. And there's many data points, and it continues to how many people have called you, how long were those calls, how many people that interacted with your ads, for example, in the end ended up showing up at your business. And that's really powerful to, over time, also get more and more sophisticated with your Nimi brand experience strategy, and to generate more local customers.
So do you have any use cases that you could possibly share that will actually help people listening see the kind of difference that it could offer a business or anybody in their own environment, and the kind of difference it could make?
Absolutely. I mean, by now we have many brands as our customers. So they are from all sorts of industries. To name a few, there's companies like DHL and Lufthansa in logistics. There's companies like Pizza Hut or Domino's or KFC when it comes to hospitality. There's also a lot of fuel retail like BP or Shell or Total. So it's really all sorts of businesses. I could continue with supermarkets and banks and insurance companies. And I think by now we are also able to really talk about the numbers that we deliver to our customers. If I take one of those, for example, with KFC, we talked to them a couple of months after they started with our solution. Got also some feedback on what they were seeing as the effect of that. And just to give you three numbers here, the increase on how many people wanted to navigate to their businesses was 60%, and that translated into 16% added revenue overall to their business. And they came up with that's a 37% and 37x return on investment on the money that they spent with us, which makes it, let's say, one of these infamous no-brainers to be investing into Nimi brand experience.
So the other question that people listening are going to be asking, of course, is how does it all work, and how easy is it for a business to get up and running?
Let me take one small step back, because I think we didn't talk about one very important aspect of all of that so far, and that is really if you look at how people are searching, out of the roughly 2 trillion searches that are happening on Google in 2019, 940 billion have some local intent, meaning that people are looking for something in their proximity, a service, a product, an experience, really. Yeah. And so for sure, there is crazy demand from people to be finding very conveniently things around them. Yeah, and that's the challenge that brands and small businesses are facing. And how does it work? In the end, it's no crazy trick. It's just a lot of work that we make really easy when it comes to, again, first being present wherever customers are searching, then being able to be engaging with them over this multitude of platforms, as also usually the search starts on one device, but the shopping doesn't end there, but on another, and ultimately in store. And then to be using that to improving the experience that you give through basically doing customer relationship management, also on a very localized level. And one thing that's super important to mention is what's also not a trick, something that businesses got to get right. It's not that we simply make them look better. For sure, we make them visible with much more detail. But generally, it's about visibility. Yeah, but you still gotta understand that people want to have a good experience in store. And what we found is that really, if you do sentiment analysis on what customer feedback our clients and partners are getting, then the good reviews are usually showing keywords like friendly staff or excellent service. Yeah? So it's really important to be communicating to your own staff how important it is what they do in store, as all of that will be reflected online, and there's no way to get around that. And if somebody leaves your business with a negative experience, and a platform like Google will give them a ping a couple hours later and ask for maybe a picture and how it was and a 1 to 5 star rating, then if they give you 1 star, that would be what's online and visible for the next person. So it's really not about a trick, but it's a very, very elegant combination of many things that are about search, that are about engagement, and that are ultimately about understanding what your clients want by analyzing feedback and conversions.
And what kind of feedback have you received from your customers? Is it something that you get to hear a lot about?
I think the 1 million+ customers that we have now are really proof in itself that it works, and that people are interested in that. But still, it's a very, very young field, and I think we're just getting started. Yeah? And everybody working with us is actually very excited about it, because they are the early adopters of technology and of this technology, and really get the how do you call it, the first mover advantage. Because currently, I was giving a presentation 2 days ago with our client Total, so the gas station chain from France, and they told me how important it really also is for them to do what they call forecourt retailing. So to really have people come there to basically use them as a mini mart. Yeah. And he said, hey, the fact alone that before they worked with us, that they found that their stores were shown as closed on Sundays, and changing that, and how much more business they could generate through that, is again, something that makes perfect sense, and we don't have to argue about it for long. But these are the things that people have to get right at first. And then he went on and explained how, as they got that right, they actually understood the value of customer feedback, as they don't really have to worry about the data part of it anymore, but now it can be all about the client relationship. And so they now really embraced that topic, and with the data that they get from us and through the smart interfaces that we give them, integrated that into their franchisee portal, and that I really like, integrated that into what they look at every day on a very local level. So every franchisee there will get a notification about customer feedback and about what they are basically doing to the brand and to their local clients, and that's not where it ends, but they actually also started to think in a very smart way about how to educate people what they have to get right. And I really like that step by step, the brands that are working with us are seeing more and more value, and actually develop over time into real experts for that, and I think generate just more appetite for smarter solutions, and we are there to give them these.
And like you said, it is very early days at the moment. But I've got to ask, what does the future look like for Uberall? Is there anything else you can share about the road ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to give you one disclaimer, and that I hinted at earlier as well. I think even on the core topics, we're just getting started. I'm proud and happy about every single business that we give visibility to. But a million is not so much if you consider the fact that there's, depending on how you look at it, but let's say roughly 180 million local businesses that should really be interested in these topics, and that's also why we generally see tremendous growth year over year. And of course, we are really investing into always staying on top of this near me search ecosystem. Yeah. Having said that, what we don't do, we don't build the ecosystem, but we make it available to our clients, and really make it easy for them to make use of all the advantages that they could generate online for their offline revenues. And I talked about that a little bit earlier. So we really see that there's more and more ways to be communicating with businesses. Messaging is a big one there. We see that product search as a topic is really growing, and we are working on that. Where and I like that. It's also it has a romantic component, that while so many things are happening online, and retail is really worried about revenues that are now going to e-commerce versus to local stores, but consumers really want convenience, and through these new advertising formats and search, it's very possible to also tell to people that are about to order whatever, a pair of sneakers online, to give them a hint and say, the same pair of sneakers in your size and in the color that you like is available just around the corner. And you can go there now and buy it now. And by the way, if you press here, you can reserve it. Yeah, and there's really sophisticated use cases coming up. By the way, that has anyway happened over the last years a lot. That now you can see online how busy businesses are. You can, and I'm sure you have done that. You can book tables for restaurants online, and there's a lot of innovation in this field, and that's going to continue over the next years as really near me search is becoming the dominant part of overall online search.
And for anybody listening that'd like to find out more information about the kind of work that you're doing and delve a little bit deeper into the report that we mentioned there, can you point them in the direction of where to find you online, and also contact your team if they are left with any of those questions?
Of course. I mean, the best way to contact us for sure is through our website. It's www.uberall.com. And we have a blog there with a lot of resources, and you can even check your business for free. How visible is it, and what are the aspects that you should really take care of to get the visibility that you deserve? Yeah. So go check it out, and then contact us directly from there, and we are super happy to have a conversation with you.
Fantastic. Well, thanks ever so much for coming on today. I think it's a topic that is universal and something that we all rely on, and businesses are looking to get a greater hold of as well and find that value from that. But more than anything, just a big thank you for taking the time to come and speak with me today.
Again, thank you very, very much for having me.
Uberall is a global leader in location management technology, and must admit, I found myself fascinated and intrigued by how this flagship location marketing cloud platform solution is actually empowering the world's biggest brands to connect with their customers and turn online interactions into offline sales. All by providing this consistent, accurate digital brand footprint that can help a business capture new customers, maximise revenue for every location. And that is obviously something with universal appeal. And the fact that Uberall is headquartered in Berlin with additional offices in San Francisco, London, Paris, Amsterdam and Cape Town kind of proves just that. And also why it has clients that are Fortune 500 Fortune 500 companies and industry leaders from all over the world too. So much food for thought in today's episode, and just the sheer scale of the task that they're tackling here. But I'd love to hear your thoughts if this is your world, your expertise, and an area that greatly interests you. And you can email me directly, techblogwriter@outlook.com. You can tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, or pop by my website, techblogwriter.co.uk, where you can find all the links to today's episode and indeed every interview that we've done as we race towards 1,000 episodes. But that's it for me, I'm afraid. It's time for me to board a plane to Munich, where I'm going to the Huawei unveiling of their latest phone. More on that story later. Thanks for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.